Wait. Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Two Brothers, Two Views, Two Veterans stream episode 12 starting
I hope you enjoyed it,
again.
Everyone. Have a great night.
It's been great. Make sure you post some topics for next week and, catch us on all our socials, the usual. Yep, so Windows updates set us up for failure. It messed up my Discord, messed up the stream. It changes the settings to a series of numbers and letters instead of an actual device. It's great. And
Discord be on that bullshit sometimes.
You think I'd pay attention to the sliding bars and notice that they're not moving. But
if we only did this at least once a week every week, you'd eventually get good
it's only episode 12, all right? You got to give it time. Hey, you're the one that said last week, every episode we start off with some sound issues. It just wouldn't be the same.
Yeah, we were just talking right before we pressed start on what our thing was going to be, and I think that's it, really.
Yeah. So on today's episode of Tech Support 101,
Tech Support 101. Okay.
No, that's not the topic for today. No, I do that enough for a living. Maybe one day we'll have a tech support guide, like tech tips of the day or something. But
a fair bit of experience in that. Maybe much different than yours, but
yeah. But when our powers combine,
Wonder Twin.
Wonder Twin?
Wonder Twin powers activate.
Wonder Twin.
Yeah.
We're such different generations. When our powers combine, it's Captain Planet.
Yeah, I know it's Captain Planet.
It's not Wonder Twins. I don't even know what Wonder Twin is.
Well, listen, I knew you were making a Captain Planet reference, so I was making a Wonder Twin reference.
What the hell is Wonder Twin? Wonder Twins. 1977. Wow, that's actually older than both of us.
Imagine. You're talking about age gap, huh?
All new Super Friends Hour.
Yep.
Unless they made a comeback. How the hell do you know about the Wonder Twins?
Wonder Twin powers activate to me is just a household saying. I've been saying it for years. That's what I always like. That was the first thing I thought when I ever saw the Vegeta and Goku fusion. It's like the Wonder Twin powers activate.
I don't know. Either way. Sure.
Educate yourself, sir.
I just did. I learned a new thing.
There you go. If you ain't learning, you're dying.
For sure we're dying regardless.
We don't need to talk about that. Okay, that's depressing.
Sorry that life is. So, Trunks and Gohan?
Trunks and Gohan. Yes, you're right, Adam. I apologize. You're absolutely right.
What the hell is Trunks and Gohan?
So when I said when Vegeta and Goku did the fusion, it wasn't Vegeta and Goku. It's Trunks and Gohan. It makes Vegeta and Goku did it too.
It's actually Trunks and Gohan.
Yes, but it's pronounced Gohan.
Yeah,
it's Goku's son and Vegeta's son, Trunks.
Anyway, we're getting veered off already. We're not even 6 minutes into the stream. We're getting squirreled. I haven't even announced the topic, and we're off topic.
How was that even possible?
That's what I'm saying.
There is no topic, so how can I be off of it?
That's what I'm saying. How do you get off topic when we haven't even said the topic?
Blame Mudslide, okay?
Oh, I will. Don't worry.
So anyway. Check.
Yes, no more. What are those called? No more royalties this week for you. So, the topic I want to bring up was, for multiple reasons, is kind of stemming off the things everybody should know kind of subject, but more so survival and zombie apocalypse survival. So, I'm one of those people, because of my mild, life experiences. No, life experiences. I'm no survivalist or anything. But I've done some fishing. I've done some hunting. I've done some camping. I've been in the military for 10 years. I used to go and peruse in the woods off on my own and shit. You know,
Yeah.
I used to be in the Boy Scouts. Uh, lots of things that attribute to my general knowledge on the subject.
Yeah.
To the point that whenever, as much as I love like The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead, I'm one of those people that gets frustrated all the time, but I don't usually vocalize it because I'll just be like, that's fucking bullshit. Because I know the wife hates it when I get
Well, to point out
obsessed.
obvious flaws.
Yeah. Like recently, it was a military, well, and I assume other vehicles are like this, but like construction and military vehicles, they have the air horn, which is literally runs off the air tanks. Because usually those vehicles have air brakes.
Yeah.
And it runs off the same system, air horn, air brakes. So if you activate the air horn, like lock it into place, it will stop making a horn sound when it runs out of air.
Yeah.
And in this one episode of Fear the Walking Dead, somebody had activated the horn on accident, and they were like, well, we're just going to have to leave the vehicle until the battery runs dead because there's no way for us to turn it off.
Well, I mean, okay, so think about it this way, just to play devil's advocate, all right? If you didn't know that, that's a logical thing to say.
Yeah, but they didn't even look.
Know, yeah, but again, if you didn't know, you don't even know what you're looking at. You don't know what you're looking for.
Again.
For all you know, it's a fucking electric fucking motor, whatever. If you don't know how a horn works, then that's completely logical, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying. I wasn't mad at it. It was just funny that they didn't even look. They're just like, well, obviously our only solution is to leave and come back later. And it's like, really? Now how are you going to jumpstart it later? Like, your only solution was to come back after the battery's dead.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, that definitely, there's the hole in the logic there. It's like, if the battery's dead, how the fuck are you going to start the damn car?
Well, that's what I was like, one, you should have at least looked. Two, if you would have looked, you probably would have figured out, oh, just pull this lever the other way, the horn stops. And then two, if you were knowledgeable on the subject, you could have just went and drained the air tanks. If the lever was truly broken, you could have just drained the air tanks and been good.
Well, I mean, okay, so pardon my ignorance, because I haven't really worked with like truck systems or anything, but wouldn't the brakes fail to work as well if you did that? Because you said they run off the same system, or is it separate tanks?
So the air actually keeps the brakes off. So when you drain the air tanks, the brakes just lock into place.
Okay, so if you drain the air tank, then you're not moving the fucking truck anyway.
Yeah, but then you could have addressed the air horn that's broken or stuck or whatever.
Yeah.
Could have beat the horn off with a hammer or something, and then start the truck back up.
I don't know if I want to be beating anything off in a fucking zombie apocalypse.
Hey, you don't know that. There's going to be QuakeCon in the apocalypse too, all right? but anyway, it was because of that kind of scene, and I'm always like watching things like that. Like, again, I'm no expert, but the things I can point out are always kind of interesting. And
I kind of relate that to like my interest in like old westerns, because one of my favorite things to do when I watch like old western TV shows and movies is I like to look for like tire tracks in the sand or in the grass, or just like a Starbucks cup that somebody left on the fucking set or something.
Little Easter eggs and stuff.
Or you'll see like the airplane evaporation trails in the sky, and you're like, oh, fucking shit, man. I love that shit.
Yeah. And it's also like what is it? Watching like YouTube and TikTok and whatnot of like, survival tips and things like that. And like, and some of them, they're good to know for day-to-day things. Like one that I thought was super cool was when they turn Coke can tabs into fishing hooks.
Yeah, that's really, really good survival knowledge. And you could just do that with a pair of pliers. That's easy.
Yeah, that's good if you're, for some reason, stranded in the deep middle of some national forest or something. Like, I don't even know. I can't think of a scenario where I would be somewhere where I'm not in walking distance of getting out of there.
Well, I mean, that's because uh, you're not as much of an what I would say lightly an adventurer as some people. Like some people, they'll go hike for like fucking, they'll
Well,
camp
yeah,
on the trail
but
and like hike for like 2 days. And if you get turned around, you're miles from fucking anything. And you could pick a direction and start walking, but what if you pick the wrong direction and you're just walking deeper and
yeah,
deeper and deeper? I mean, it
with your
happens.
teeth. Yeah, you're not making a fishing hook out of a coat tie with your teeth. But
No fishing gear, but always have a cold can. That's right. Priorities.
well, yeah, I guess Adam would be the good case in point there. Yeah, you never know when you're gonna be stranded in Alaska or something. That taking that trip between Anchorage and where does he live? Fairbanks.
Yeah.
You know, 1,000 miles of wilderness between the two cities.
Yeah.
Uh, but it was still kind of funny where I'd look at it like, yeah, it is good knowledge to have, but it's really only useful if A, like you were saying, you are some hiker or camper or traveling across the massive state of Alaska or something, or your plane crashes like the movie Alive or something.
Yeah.
You know, it just seems like more of an extreme scenario for you need to know how to make a fishing hook out of a Coke can tab.
Yeah, but you can't like. I think it's very bold to say, and I'm not saying that you are, but it's very bold to say that that information isn't useful to have.
Well, to
Whether
say it's
you'll
not
ever need it
useful,
or
I just said
ever
it's
be in a
extreme.
position to need it, it's good to have that knowledge.
You would not to say you should do something to a baby seal, but you'd be sad. All right. And I'm translating a lot of this. I guess kind of the core thing of the topic is there's general survival skills that are useful to know, and then how many of those translate over into zombie apocalypse useful things to know.
Okay.
And that was kind of my point, where it's like, as of right now, making a fishing hook out of a Coke can tab is only really useful if I'm a hiker traveling across Alaska or happen to get in a plane crash. If it's a zombie apocalypse, I can probably find fishing hooks fairly easily.
Yeah, but at some point, right, you're going to run out and there's not going to be any more in your area. And so you'll have to travel to find them. And it's like, well,
I mean, maybe. I mean, yeah, I guess depending on where you are, like, I just figure, like, even Oklahoma, I could just go to, like, the lake or neighborhoods or a storage yard and find boats that are going to have, like, a tackle box in it.
yeah,
And
but you're working on the assumption that, once you have a hook, you can use it forever.
no, I'm working up the assumption that when I find a tackle box, I'm going to find 100 hooks and be good for a while.
Maybe, unless you have a really bad day of fishing and everything fucking bites your fucking hook off.
I was say for a while, but then you think about it. Yeah, I'm thinking of the your day-to-day fishing life. Yeah, it'd be good for a while. But if I'm literally fishing every day for food,
yeah, like you're gonna go through those hooks quick as fuck.
I still feel like I found a case of hooks. I don't know. I guess again, emergency situation, it would still be good to know. That way, like, if I just can't find food, can't find hooks, lost my last hook, I can find a can and make one more.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point there, Gert. Would the I mean, so I mean, I kind of see where you're going with that, but also, like, I mean, even in The Walking Dead, like, they would hunt deer and shit, and it didn't affect the deer.
The deer's a little different. I mean, they could potentially eat zombie-infested grass or something. But you think of all the dead zombies floating in the water.
Well,
the fish
that's
are
fair.
cycling that water through their systems.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
I feel like you'd have to just play it by ear. The same way you wouldn't want to pick berries, where a zombie died nearby.
Yeah. I mean, we know Garrett. He'd be texting, sending letters to everybody he knows. Hey, can I eat this?
You see this? He's got fucking carrier pigeons just to ask that question. Yeah, zombie grass. See. Uh, but yeah, but it's things like that. Like I said, the premise is how many of these general good to have survival skills for your day to day life are actually as useful in a zombie apocalypse.
This will be a good one. We haven't really had a topic where we've had a lot of difference in opinions. I think this one will be good.
Yeah, that's why I was glad that Mudslide was going to join us since he is a camper Alaskan.
Why don't we pull him into the chat? We can do our first guest appearance.
If he wants to, he can. Or he can just chat.
Adam, you want in on this?
So, probably the most controversial or difference of opinion thing. Yeah, he's talking about voice in Discord.
Yeah.
What the favorite midget who I can't beat in wrestling?
Yeah, he's talking about Garrett.
Just funny. The darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. So, yeah, that's true, Ben. So, secret little hoarder thing about me, I have every military manual I could find while I was in the army. I kept them. Everything. Truck manuals, weapons manuals, tool manuals, survival manuals. I have a whole giant tub of manuals. Not necessarily out of like some survival paranoia, but it was just kind of a cool hobby to collect them. And thought, you never know. One day, I'm going to have this random knowledge. But I also, like he said, I have all my Boy Scout books too, because yeah, they have tons of useful information in them. Teaches you, I mean, hell, it's practically a survival guide by itself, but it's broken down for a child to understand it. So
Yeah.
It's even better.
All right. Well, everybody, welcome our first guest, Adam, aka Mudslide.
Adam, you going to turn on your mic or your webcam?
And unmute yourself.
And unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Well, while he's having technical difficulties. The one that everybody's going to have a difference of opinion on is what is the best weapon to have in the zombie apocalypse?
Oh, this one's tough. Okay, so this one for me.
Hang on. Let me add to it. So, as say a wandering nomad.
Mm-hmm.
So you have your go-to, like you live in a base and you're gonna go out and go scavenge, versus you're wandering across the country by yourself. What's the one thing you're gonna make sure you keep on you?
Okay, so I'm gonna answer your question with a question of my own. So do I get to choose the knowledge that I have in this situation?
I mean,
like if I almost like picking a proficiency in like D&D. Can I like preset my knowledge?
No, I mean you'd say it's anything that you can gain knowledge on through use.
All right.
I mean,
okay. Well, here's what I'll say then. If I had any kind of experience with tillering, I would probably go with a bow.
Crossbow.
See, the problem with that is still ammo.
You can make ammo.
Yeah, but you can't make it on the fly.
You can make a bolt on the fly.
Well,
No,
I mean,
I'm saying if there's 20 zombies in front of you and you got 5 arrows, you're not just making 15 more.
If I got 20 zombies in front of me and I got 5 arrows, I'm probably not fighting those 20 zombies. I'm getting the fuck out of there.
I mean, sometimes you gotta fight.
Well, in the zombie guide, it says AK-47 all the way, because you can throw it in the mud, pull it out, and no fire.
Yeah, but again, you have to get ammo. So let's rephrase this. In my opinion, the best range weapon is always going to be some kind of bow, because you can make your own ammo. But I guess I was more thinking of which melee weapon are you going to choose?
Okay, melee weapon is a different question altogether.
But hang on, first, Adam, are you going to turn on your webcam?
Yeah.
I don't have a webcam.
Okay.
All right then.
Well, yes, new voice, first guest appearance on the show. Old longtime friend of ours, Mudslide.
Let's see, how long have I've known Adam?
Before your daughter was born.
When did that raid come out? When did Zulamon first come out?
Burning Crusade.
Well, that's not a year, sir.
2005, 6.
Not gonna be 5 because Warcraft came out 04.
BC came out in like 06, 05.
Let's see, Zulamon. I swear it just said 2007. Where'd it go? Dang, you'd think that'd be an easy question to Google. Wow. Wait. That says Kata. Was it Kata? No. Apparently that's a much harder of a question to Google than I thought, but yeah, it's been like 10 years. Or well, more than that, like 15 years or something. Oh, here we go. March. Dang it. That says March 2022. Swear to God, WoW Classics are ruining my life. Well, anyway. Like 15 years. Oh, here we go. 2007. Dang, there it is. Yeah, and Grace was born in 2008. So, known Adam since 2007. So, creeping up on 15, 20 years. Oh. He's from Alaska. He likes long walks on the beach.
He still needs to send me some bear meat next time he goes on a hunt.
Still needs to send me some porcupine meat. But he refuses. The year of Burning Crusade, I tremendously that one well. Oh, remember.
God damn that autocorrect, man.
Yes. I'm over there like, hang on.
Bitch, dude. How did she get tremendously from remember? That one was shit. That's a tough nut to crack.
It's a heck of an autocorrect.
Yeah. That's a stretch.
So anyway. Best melee weapon.
Man, that's
in the zombie apocalypse.
That's a significantly more difficult question.
Exactly. Because
I think I'm gonna go. Can I get
now keep in mind the wandering nomad part. So it's something you have to carry around with you forever. It needs to be, you're kind of minimizing and maximizing the amount of stuff you're carrying because you're on foot carrying it around.
Yeah, so, I think my answer stays the same. I think I'm going with a spear, man. Because you could use it as a walking stick. Like, if you're, wandering nomad, that's going to be super helpful. You can keep things at distance if you need to.
Isn't a morning store a flail?
Yeah. It's a flail with like a spike ball at the end of it.
Sounds terrible. Just doesn't sound very... I mean, I don't know. The flail is an interesting one. Because...
I'm going to slap you.
The flail is an interesting one because you can theoretically take out multiple at a time. And... has a little bit of concussion value, knocking them back, making them stumble or fall. But it also takes a lot of dexterity to keep swinging a flail.
You also have to define the parameters of the zombie as well. Like, can these zombies run? Are they like slow shambling corpses?
Standard Walking Dead zombies.
Okay, all right. So the golden standard zombie.
Yeah.
All right, got it.
And Hatchet, I feel, is just way too small. You're getting way too up close and personal.
But it is very multi-purpose.
Yes.
So you're minimizing your, what you're carrying around because you're using one thing for multiple different applications.
I feel like I would keep a hatchet almost like you keep a pistol. Keep a hatchet like on my belt at all times as both the emergency weapon, multi-tool kind of thing.
Yeah. That's just an essential pizza kit, period.
Weapon you did a whip. Just, I mean,
up killing yourself, dude.
I mean,
You just
while you
fucking jugular.
while you would easily get zombie kill of the week if I saw you whipping down a 20-man horde with a bladed whip. Again, the dexterity and the skill set too to accurately whip zombies in the head and have enough of an impact to crack, their brainstem would be an interesting task. Oh, what the heck is that? Let's Google this. Random weapons.
Adam, what's your weapon of choice?
Are you just Googling random weapons, Ben? The Macahoodle is a wooden club with several embedded its obsidian blades. So it's like a bat with obsidian blades. It's interesting. I mean, again, that kind of stems to the Negan, barbed wire bat.
When saying it out loud, it sounds like the way. It's just got the name that gives you a lot of confidence, man.
What the martial
yeah, that one.
Makashudi. Again, a lot of blunt weapons. So if you think about The Walking Dead, and it's kind of an ongoing debate in my head whenever we watch these shows of they tend to treat every zombie as if it has a mushy bone structure.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really make any logical sense. Like, bone doesn't break down and get softer.
Yeah.
So whenever you see them use practically no force to crush the top of a skull in completely.
Yeah,
it's
nah, I call bullshit.
Yeah, same thing. Even Negan with his bat. Hey, he looks all cool and whatnot, but man, the amount of force it would take to crush a skull in with a baseball bat is the same as a live person as it is the zombie. I mean, you're crushing a skull in. It's just, I guess it'd probably be a little bit more brittle because it's losing the, what do you call it? The tendon strength of muscles and stuff actually holding stuff together too. Yeah. But still, you'll see somebody that turned an hour ago. You can all of a sudden crush that skull in with their foot. And it's get out of here. That's kind of my problem with any kind of blunt weapon. Unless you're swinging a sledgehammer, which again would take an amazing amount of long-term dexterity to be able to take down multiple zombies with a sledgehammer.
So to cut you off, to respond to what Garrett said, but they do hollow, so isn't it weaker? No, because if you look at the human anatomy, the brain inside of your skull isn't even touching your skull. If it does, that's called a concussion. Your skull is, for all intents and purposes, hollow for the most part, right? Because there's nothing supporting the bone structure there. It's just the strength of the skull itself. If that makes sense.
Did we lose you on voice, Adam? Now he's typing. Quandao. What's a Quandao?
Quandao.
Oh, yeah. See, now here's where we're getting into my kind of preferences. A bladed spear, or the Quandao here is a little bit more hardcore version. I believe a ranged melee weapon is your ideal weapon choice.
I agree. That's why I say spear.
Be it the katana, the bladed spear, not just a spear, a bladed spear. Because again, you think of multi-purpose. A bladed spear could also be used as a potential cutting tool, axe, things that.
Doesn't a spear have to have a blade of some sort on the tip of it?
Well, that's a point, not necessarily a blade.
Yeah, but if we're talking zombie apocalypse situation, right? I'm not building I'm not whittling down a fucking stick. I'm taping or tying a fucking knife to an end of a long stick.
Yeah, but I'm looking at things like, well, here, let me just bring it over. Open image, things like this. You know, like if you could find that at some dojo somewhere and become a master of that.
What is that?
Did you see it on the stream?
Oh, okay. No, I see it.
Yeah, you had to give it a second.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you're talking about crafting one. I'm talking about, like, finding a weapon. Like, if you're going to find your best weapon, like, if you could go to the weapon store and get any weapon you want, what's something that you're going to get?
Well, now, as far as... I'm thinking more along the lines of survival. I want something that's not only going to be deadly, but is going to be sustainable.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I want, like, this metal on metal. Like, but at the same time, I would probably want the blade on one end because I'd rather have a walking stick as well. But
yeah, I mean, but what happens when that blade is dull and you've sharpened it so much that it's just a sliver at this point?
Well, then you get another one.
What if there aren't any more?
Well, then maybe you make one. But
that's my point. I want something that I can make on the fly, especially if I'm a nomad and I don't always have access to, weapons. I want something that I can make on the way.
The tea tickler. But yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like, I'm going to be looking for this kind of weapon. I'm not necessarily talking about what am I going to make. Yeah, I'm going to make, I'm probably just going to make a wooden spear. Again, I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, I might end up with a dumbed down version of this. But, if anything, I'll find a shovel and just use that. Like, same kind of concept. Might not be as agile with a shovel. But, hell, you can even take like a post hole digger, take it apart, and have two of them.
Yeah.
Again, you could use, if you just had one half of a post hole digger, like, you could sharpen the end of that blade up and just bam, bam, bam. Keep zombies at range and take them out one at a time.
Yep. That's definitely the play, though. You got to have some sort of like ranged melee.
Yeah, and I bring that up because, like, when I was watching The Walking Dead, I always thought, like, man, Michonne with the sword. Like, why is everybody not using a sword? Like, and I get it. They're trying to have diversity in the show, but like when you're watching the dude with like a hammer running around, and I'm like, really, a hammer? Like, but then you watch like Rick go into full ham mode with a freaking Bowie and a hatchet. And you're like, okay, I mean, you get crazy enough. Like, even though short range weapons are going to be good, but I've always been a fan, like you were talking about earlier you said if there's 20 zombies coming at you, you're just going to leave. And I figure if it's your standard zombie and you have enough room to maneuver around and you're careful, again, any kind of spear, you could sit there and pick off 20 zombies patiently and carefully.
Yeah.
You just wait till one trails out, get that one. Wait till the next one trails out, get that one. Like, that's always kind of the problem with watching the shows like this. They always seem to be like in a hurry. It's like, dude, you have all day to kill those 20
like
zombies.
Whatever it is that you're trying to get to is not worth your life.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
It might be, but it's worth risking your life, but not in a hurry. I mean, it's still going to be there, obviously. Yeah. I mean, now, there's the situations where, like, somebody's life is in danger and the medical supplies are in there, and, then you get a little bit more careless. But when you're just like, oh, I know there's snacks in there. It's like,
go for a bag of chips right now.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, well, I'd spend the next 6 hours kiting those zombies around and just casually kill them as the opportunity came up.
Or you run them away.
Or just kite them away.
You just kite them away and then come back faster than they can get there, get what you want, and get the fuck out.
Get a sturdy cattle chute. Again, you're a nomad. You're not dragging a cattle chute everywhere you go. Or like a scythe. Now that's a cool idea. If you were to become a master of a scythe, Scythe, right?
Yeah.
Like, man, that's another one that would be pretty handy. There's also like the bladed spear though. We went to a martial arts competition with the kid, and I can't remember which martial art it was, but their weapon of choice was the bladed spear. And it was like, man, like watching some, and this was just like a teenager.
I think those
like,
are called not flails. They're called I know what they're called. I can't remember. I'm gonna look it up and I'll get back with you. Continue.
Yeah, it's the one that has like a feather on the end of it. But yeah, just watching this is just like an 18-year-old kid, no like long-term master or something. And watching their movements, and it's like, man, like if you actually became a master of that, like even that 20-person horde, you'd be taking out 5 at a time with the bladed spear. There's a halberd. That's more of a standard. No, that's an axe.
It was an axe. It's like a pole arm and an axe together, a long axe.
I think it's just a spear. Yeah. Bladed weapons. No, not that one. Sickle, dagger, knives, swords. Let's see. Bladed spear with feather.
I think I've got it figured out. I think I found.
There's a quang.
Pudao. Pudao. Pudao is what it's called.
It's kind of similar to. Oh no, that's more like the one he said earlier. That's more like a sword at the end of it. But yeah, I mean any of those kind of weapons. So anything that gives you range where a slow moving target is never going to get to you. Whereas if you're using a hatchet, you can easily get overwhelmed. Even with just one, you can get overtaken with a hatchet. And I feel like a hatchet, has more of a chance of getting stuck than stabbing something in the face.
Yeah, agree. That's definitely something you have to be mindful of because you don't want your weapon getting stuck into something that you're trying to stab.
Yeah. But yeah, what is the craziest weapon in Fear the Walking Dead? They took the, what's it called? Like a compressor? Not compressor. What's the shit on the end of a weapon? Compensator? Or flash?
Oh, yeah, compensator, flash hider.
It was like a 50 cal compensator, like the one that looks like a piece of Swiss cheese,
Yeah.
And somehow they got this thing grinded down on one end to be a point, which I don't know how you managed to do that, because that is like, I don't know what you call that, reinforced steel, or what's weapon grade metal.
If you've got enough time on your hands, you can grind anything down.
Nah, this wasn't like a short period. Like she got it, and like a couple of days later, it was like that, and I'm like, I don't know how you did that, but okay. But it's like, again, using that, where it's like, really, all the options in the world, and that's what you're using. Kind of like the guy with the hammer, where you're just like, a hammer? Really? But anyway, back to getting other people's opinions on that. So you say spear of some sort. I basically say the same thing. I wouldn't be too picky. It'd be the first quality size stick I can get my hands on, whether it's a Donatello wooden stick or what's that one that Ben said earlier, the Pondao or Quandao.
Yeah.
Like, I'd take anything that's bladed or even just a stick. Just something that gives me like a 4-foot range on the zombies.
Yeah.
Nah, that wasn't a 5.56 barrel shroud on Fear the Walking Dead. What's up, Half Jacket? Welcome back. That's one of our Eve Corp members.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I remember. How's it going, Half?
What? I got to question Garrett's logic here while others answer. So if you're just checking in that jacket, we're talking about what would be your preferred melee weapon of choice in the zombie apocalypse against standard, like Fear the Walking Dead zombies.
I'm still waiting on Mudslide to weigh in. Is that his final answer? Whatever he said, the Kwandao.
No, that was a Mudslide. I thought that was Ben.
No, that was Mudslide that said that.
Huh.
And I found out just after doing a little bit of research, the Pundao and the Kwandao that I said, like there's a whole like family of just like spear swords like that, and they're just called Dao spears.
Yeah.
And so like the Kwandao kind of fits into that same family.
Yeah, there's no way that's an M16 barrel. Let's see, do they actually say? So it's a sharpened barrel shroud. It's a vented barrel shroud from an abandoned machine gun. So it doesn't actually specify like what gun.
No.
But I got the picture here, so I'll try and zoom in. Let's see. Yeah, that thing. So it's losed a big ass barrel shroud that she somehow got the entire end grinded down to a point. Like that thing's got to weigh like 20 pounds.
Oh yeah, no, that's fucking yeah.
It's like really, again, all the options to you in the world. I mean, in a pinch, sure, but she keeps this for months.
Those are pretty thin metal, so I mean that could be reasonable. Yeah, those are fairly thin. All that is a heat sink.
Well, I guess I was thinking of like the tip of an M16 barrel.
No,
it's,
no.
You know, pretty thick.
No, she that's just the heat sink. It's made, yeah, exactly, Garrett. It's made out of aluminum. It's the heat sink that goes around the barrel, and it protects you from like if you grab the gun, you're not touching the fucking flaming hot barrel. Yeah, that's okay. That. Now that you showed me the picture and I can see it, that's totally reasonable. I think that wouldn't be very heavy at all either.
See, I guess I assumed it was like I've never ordered that size of one before, so I assumed they were like similar to other things that I have seen of that nature that are pretty thick.
Yeah, no.
All right, well, I guess it's a little more reasonable, at least of how she got it to a point like that. But now you're almost making me question how durable it is.
Yeah, that was going to be my first thing. It's like, yeah, okay, that might work for a couple, but after a while, it's just going to get fucked up to the point you're not even going to want to use it.
That's like her weapon of choice for months.
Then again, it is a cylinder, and the cylinders are really strong shapes, just structurally. So, I mean, you know, it could be pretty good.
What? Oh, M-Lock rail system?
Yeah.
What's an M-Lock rail system?
It's the type of, like, you know how you have Picatinny rail system, you've got M-Lock rail system, you've got hex rail systems. Nope. It's just the interlocking system between the gadget and the rail itself.
Oh, AR-15 rails. Oh, okay. I didn't realize there was names for that.
Yeah, like the ones that have, you know, the standard rails that you see like under pistols, those are pretty much always Picatinny.
Interesting. See, the more you know.
Yeah.
Learning every day on this stream.
You've been in the military for 10 years and didn't even know that. Come on, man.
I mean, I know it was the weapon rail. I never knew it was the type.
Yeah, there's multiple different types.
Yeah, it's the type that's on the M4, the type that's on the F16. Never had to. It's not like I could go out and swap it out with another one. It was just whatever was on that weapon. Well, anyway, so
that's probably true, Garrett.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? I mean, when I originally, no, definitely not. Because I was doing, when I was in basic, they had just upgraded to the M16A2s. And then we actually still had like 2A1s. And then it wasn't until my like last deployment that we were all using the M4s. But anyway, so what was Garrett's final answer? Are you still sticking with the hatchet? We got Mudslide has the Ponto.
The one Quantao. Quandao.
Was it Quan with a Q?
Yes. Pretty sure.
It's
with a K.
Got Ben in his Quandao.
Quandao.
We got Ben with his knife whips, unless he's changing. He's named about 17 weapons, so
yeah.
I don't know
he's
which one.
Walking armory.
Yeah. And I'm an army of one. Sticking with the hatchet. See, I still think I would keep the hatchet on my hip as my like multi-tool. You know, making kindling, emergency weapon. But I would definitely keep a spear with me as my primary. One side hammer on the like that kind of hatchet. Yeah, I just couldn't use it as my primary though.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. I wouldn't.
And then Ben, is your final the Guan? Or is that where you're correcting the spear name? Let's see. Guan weapon, is that a thing? Oh. Yeah, basically. The Guan. Oh, Guan Dao.
Yeah.
Guan Dao, for those curious who want to Google it. Post it in chat there. And then, Half Jacket, you want to chime in? What's your melee weapon of choice for the zombie apocalypse? Yeah, while he's thinking of that, look at the second thing finally. So, for one, the number one that this one list suggests was a shovel. I agree and disagree. I mean, a shovel is very useful, but
yeah, I mean, it could be used as a weapon in a pinch, but I don't think it would be my main weapon.
It's not the most fluid weapon to swing. So, the number two thing to know about for zombie apocalypse and general survival, which I learned this when I was early in the military, was using bleach to purify drinking water. Not a lot of people realize you can do that. A mild amount of bleach makes the water taste a little funny, but purifies it.
Yeah.
And I imagine bleach isn't going to be necessarily something that's stolen off the shelves at every store in the apocalypse. So I could see, in your backpack, carry a little water bottle full of bleach. Blankets and towels, yeah, sure. Keep a rolled up blanket. A knife, kind of obvious. You want a knife, hatchet. Spray paint was actually, when I read it, I was like, spray paint? But then you think, it is good for when you're clearing a town by yourself. And we've seen this in several of the episodes and several movies and whatnot. Including like, what's that one with Will Smith? I forgot. But marking buildings, like you just mark the door with like an X.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that we use even today. Like when there's major natural disasters, they go out with spray paint and they mark the houses and buildings that they've checked already.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's something that we've kind of seen in all kinds of scenarios.
Yeah, but that's like real shit. That's not like made up Hollywood stuff.
Yeah, but it wasn't on my list. I Am Legend. Yeah. It wasn't on my list of like shit I'm gonna carry in my zombie apocalypse duffel bag.
Yeah, that's definitely something I wouldn't have thought about.
Yeah, but it makes perfect sense. It's
it does.
Because otherwise I'm not gonna remember every little house.
Yeah.
And if anything, other people might see that and be like, "Oh shit, that means these have been cleared."
Yeah.
And heck, it might even keep somebody out of the house you're camping in.
Yeah.
Mark an X on it, but like, nope, this one's been searched. No reason to come into here.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Ben says, just a couple drops of bleach and you got, purified drinking water. I Am Hero? No, that's not it. I Am Legend. It's a good movie. I've watched it several times. And Adam, you ever going to answer as to what happened to you on Voice? We were trying to interview you and you just popped smoke on us.
No. Best guest ever.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I switched it over to push to talk
And then
because
just
I'm a retard. So
okay,
yeah, I'm
we've been
handicapped.
trying
Leave me
to
alone.
talk to you
Leave me alone.
forever.
I've literally been answering this whole entire time. But I switched to push to talk. So
let it
man.
go. That's okay.
So-
We'll let you slide this one time.
So another one that's interesting to think about, kind of like the spray paint one, is tinfoil.
Oh yeah.
Tinfoil, super useful. You can make tools and cooking
Yep.
bowls out of it, whatnot.
Yep.
Like, and again, like if I was clearing a little gas station, I wouldn't be like, oh, let me get the foil and put it in my bag until reading this. And it's like, man,
I probably would, because you can use the foil to make fire.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of uses.
Yeah, I'd absolutely grab the tinfoil.
it also depends on if you're trying to building a stash for an area as well.
Well, this is based off of the main premise, certainly with our weapon choice of the nomad lifestyle. Like, what's something you have, like your big camping rucksack? What are you going to keep in your rucksack at all times while you're going from place to place? The other one's a hammer, which I agree with what Gert was saying. Have the hammer hatchet combo, which is why I, keep that on my belt, because you're always going to need a hammer to build things or take one down. Same thing with the hatchet.
Yeah, but I'm of the mindset that anything can be a hammer if you try hard enough.
Yeah, but if you're
Pry bar would definitely be a flat pry bar or crowbar.
Yeah, I mean crowbar would. I don't know. I still feel like the hammer hatchet would be better. I mean,
yeah,
depending on
ideal situation. Yes, you're gonna have the hammer hatchet combo situation going on.
Yeah, which again, you might be upgrading along as you go.
Yeah.
Where you have your standard claw hammer, then you find the hammer hatchet or the crowbar. You kind of upgrade. But ideally, I feel like the hammer hatchet's going to be your better bet.
I mean, you don't really need a hammer unless you're building a structure that you're going to stay in.
That's also very true.
Time.
Well, yeah, but that's what we're talking about. Like if you
The
need to
hammer
say
doesn't really have
if
a
you're
lot of
gonna
use.
if you're gonna camp in a house for the night and you want to hammer some boards on the walls or door and whatnot to make it stay shut. I mean,
Like Dragon said, man, anything can be used as a hammer.
Yeah, like.
But I wouldn't have
I just
to
find a jar somewhere that somebody left behind and hammer a nail in with it. Like, fucking, I don't need to carry around a hammer everywhere I go. I could probably find something to use, and don't have to have the weight.
But
like I said, ideal situation.
But if I found a hammer hatchet,
well, yeah, I'm carrying that. Period. I'm ditching the hatchet and the hammer, and I'm taking the hammer hatchet.
Well, yeah. What was I saying? I agree with, like, I'm probably not going to carry around just a hammer. Like, as you said, I'll find something else to use as a hammer. But if I found a hammer hatchet, I'm keeping that for life.
Yeah, 100%.
For foot crowbar, yeah, it could be beneficial. But, again, because you get the handle part, stick it in there, pull it back, you get something to push in, pull on to get it in and out of a zombie's head. So yeah, I can see, again, that's kind of like goes back to the whole, like, I'm gonna find something spear-ish to use. So if I find a 4-foot long crowbar, that's probably gonna be my go-to right there. Same thing if I just found a solid metal cane, just sharpen the end of it.
Yeah.
Next is, again, this one's a little bit more different. Gasoline. I don't know if I necessarily would just carry gasoline in my bag.
Maybe if I had like a spare water bottle, maybe like a water bottle of gasoline.
Yeah, I can see.
I'd break off a small piece of tinfoil. I'd punch a couple of holes in the cap, put the tinfoil between the cap, screw the cap back on, throw it in my pack, and then if I ever need to start a fire, I could use that little piece of aluminum, spritz a little gasoline on something, and I got fuel and spark.
Butane tanks, hands down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'll say that, or like lighter fluid or something.
Yeah. I'm not carrying around a fucking 5-gallon jug of fucking gasoline everywhere.
But then the next one,
give me a water bottle of gasoline. I can make that work.
Yeah. The next one is more of an obvious one, a lighter.
Yeah.
Which again, that's where like either
useful for like the first week.
Well, depending. I mean, again, if you're like Adam was saying, you're carrying like butane and you have your butane lighter, or if you're like me, you can carry like a Zippo and have some Zippo fluid.
Okay, yeah, okay, good for the first month.
I mean, I guess. How often are you lighting things on fire? Like,
I mean, if you want to fire every night when you go to bed, then yeah.
I mean, it doesn't take that much gas or fuel from your lighter to start a fire. But either way, I mean, again, I feel like it would work out, and you can kind of make your own, sort of. The other interesting one, or the next interesting one, is toilet paper. Like, how much toilet paper?
Available.
Yeah. Clothes out of the closets and shit. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
Hot take. I don't think I'm carrying toilet paper around with me.
I think I would.
You could wipe your ass with all kinds of things, man.
I don't know, man. When you're,
I mean, at that point, if I found cash registers full of money, I'm wiping my ass with the money just to be ironic about it.
But you're talking about in town. What if you're between towns?
Well,
you got bark, you got leaves, you got lots
of stuff. Or I keep one roll of toilet paper in my bag for such occasions.
How long is that going to last you, though? Because
I'm only talking about the between town.
Yeah, but if you're nomadic and you're constantly traveling, you're more likely to be in between towns than you are likely to be in town.
I'm gonna try and treat it like I do at work and only shit at home. So I'm gonna try and take my shits while I'm in town. Use some sheets, some dollar bills, whatever suits my fancy that evening.
Get that double thick Charmin.
You got thick of the litter. Listen, I'm just building a base in a Costco, and I'm set for life. Okay?
Yeah. Just wipe it on the ground. Jeez. Yeah, I mean, you could spend days on the road depending on how far you're traveling between towns. But again, that's why I'd want to have. I feel like I'd always keep one roll in my bag for those. Just I really need to go tonight. I can't wait till the next town. I got a nice roll of toilet paper because it's not going to take up much space. And, side uses, if I can't find any dry kindling or something, I could use the toilet paper to get my fire started. I can use it as bandaging if I needed to. I mean, it has more than one use.
I mean, sure, but you say that you'll not use the toilet paper when you're in town, and you will when you're not. It's like, what's the fucking difference at that point? Like,
well, because if
you're okay with using it in town, then you should be perfectly fine using it out in the fucking woods.
No, I said I'm not going to use it in town.
I think you're just getting the habit.
Well, that's what I mean, though. That's what I'm saying.
In the end, after like the first month of having to do it, you'd be like, it'd be nonchalant.
Well, I mean, I look at it as like my, deployments and field time. Like, you always kept toilet paper on you. It was just something you always had because I'd rather have it than not have it.
Yeah, but you're saying that if you have it, you're really only going to use it half the time, or maybe not even at all. So what's the point in having it? You're just carrying around shit that you're not using.
No, because like I said, it has
seashells. There you go.
I'm sure you can find some sandpaper belts somewhere. It'd be all right.
Yeah, that's because it has multiple use. It's also
so does sandpaper.
It can be used as bandaging and kindling, so it's a multi-use thing.
Well, I'm all for, like, when we go moose camp and stuff like that, we bring out packages of baby wipes.
Well, yeah, but the baby wipes aren't exactly lasting in the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
They dry out and become paper.
Yeah, but I'd rather have a nice roll of toilet paper.
Right there.
Yeah.
See, I'm more of a long haul thinker. Like, I'm not thinking about like what's going to last me for the week. I want to make sure that I'm good for months at a time. And it's like, so I want to be prepared for that. It's like, okay, 6 months down the road, how useful is that lighter that I got on day one going to be to me? Probably not at all.
Yeah, but it also takes up little to no space. So why not keep the Zippo in case you come across more lighter fluid? Because when you do come across a lighter fluid, it's that much easier. But
right, but I'm just using the lighter as an example. You know.
Yeah. I'm saying some of the small things, it's like I would still keep it. I would keep a roll of toilet paper just in case.
Yeah, I mean, if I came across a roll of toilet paper, like, oh, cool, throw it in the backpack. But
That's what I'm saying.
Rely on that roll of toilet paper. I'm not going to put it on my fucking bug out bag when I leave. Like, just.
I mean, I might.
I'm grabbing shit that I'm grabbing shit. I'm ready to stay out there for months.
Yeah. Again, I don't know. I'd still have it. But also, another one's interesting is dental floss.
Yeah, that's pretty useful. I'd take that
because it's like tiny rope.
Some type of pick.
Yeah, and most, I mean, dental floss is fairly strong. I mean,
yeah, I feel like I'd rather trade that for like fishing line.
Yeah,
I mean, you could use dental floss as fishing line. It's been done before.
Well, yeah, but the tensile strength, a fishing line.
You're right.
I'm saying
It's not the same. Yeah, you're right.
Like they're talking about their philosophy was it's good to carry around if you have something in your teeth or tie around sticks to make a campfire. And I'm like, again, I'd rather just have some fishing line.
Yeah, because you get more uses out of fishing line along with the uses that were just stated.
Yeah. The other one's duct tape. I would definitely, anytime I came across duct tape, add it to the bag.
Hands down.
I'd be the weirdo survivalist with like 8 rolls of duct tape in my bag.
Hey, you know what? Listen, duct tape is one of the most useful substances on the planet. Okay, if you can't duck
armor with it,
if you can't duck it, fuck it, man. Like, that's all I'm gonna say.
I mean, literally, you could literally make a duct tape armor set.
Oh yeah. People have made body armor out of duct tape, like 3A body armor out of duct tape.
I can't even read Ben's last messages, serious. Just your shit rag and you have it till it rains. It's like, no.
You got a poo rag and a river or a creek. I mean, you're set. I mean, that's legit. That is legitimately legit.
No. I don't know. Ouch. Collect up a box of screws or nails, yeah. Same thing. Like I would definitely, if I came across like a box of nails, definitely would throw that in the bag. Which is again why the hammer hatchet comes in handy. What's the other things there? So coffee filters, another interesting to think about one. Kind of like the toilet paper thing. That could kind of be a multi-purpose. Coffee filters as your emergency toilet paper. See?
Yeah.
I don't need a roll of toilet paper. I keep a pack of coffee filters.
You could use it as a very mild water filter.
Yeah, which is how they have it. At least clears out some of the impurities.
Yeah, some of the large particulate matter that may be in it.
Yeah. And
I don't think it's going to help you very much in a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I was trying to think of like, what water am I drinking that the coffee filter is really a concern at that point?
No. I'm not drinking any natural water in a zombie apocalypse unless I know I can purify it.
Yeah, or the bleach, But I guess in theory, like if you had some, I don't know, puddle water from the rain, you could take that, run it through the coffee filter, then put a couple drops of bleach in it.
I mean, even rainwater, I'd be like more.
Well, that's what I
wouldn't
mean.
Even really care too much about purifying rainwater if I had a way of collecting it as I'm sleeping or something. Like I'm just funneling all that into a bottle and drinking it straight.
Well, I'm talking about like if you found standing rainwater.
Oh,
say somebody's garden 55-gallon drum that just collects rainwater.
Nope, not touching it.
I would.
No.
I mean, if you're dying of thirst, I bet you're going to find a way. That's why you get the bleach in the coffee filters.
Right, yeah, I mean, if I had the bleach in the coffee filter, sure, but just drinking it straight out of the barrel, fuck no.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying. This would come in handy. You
run it through carbon.
Yeah, if you have charcoal.
You can make it. You can make charcoal and just run it through charcoal.
Yeah.
Yeah, every night that you make a fire, you make a small batch of charcoal, and you're golden. It helps for your inside intestines. When you can eat it, you can purify water with it. You can
brush your
restart
teeth
fires with it. You can brush teeth with it, and it's everything that you make when you make a campfire every night.
We'll see. That's where you get your charcoal grounds. You put them in the coffee filter. You pour the water through that, and then you add a couple drops of bleach. Boom.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, but what's the difference between running it through a coffee filter and maybe, let's say, a pair of socks that I have or that I find?
Well, the coffee filter is more fine.
It is a little bit more fine.
I'll give you that. But I mean, if I don't have coffee filters,
well, yeah, I mean,
coffee filters. I mean, again, thinking long term, right? And fucking, a year from now, all those coffee filters are going to be, well, maybe not a year. I don't know. I assume that they'll degrade after a while, and you're just not going to have very much access to them.
Well, yeah, but this is more like the list of like things that when you go into some Walgreens in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
You're going to be like,
so let me ask
like, all right, I'm looking for coffee filters, duct tape, fishing string.
So I'll ask this question to clarify my answers, to help me clarify my own answers. Are we talking like in the sense of what I'm putting in a bug out bag? Or are we talking in a sense like I walk into a town and I'm looking for supplies, what am I grabbing?
Well, it's both in a sense. Like, your bug out bag is going to have your...
My answers are going to be different.
Well, I know that. Your bug out bag is what you're going to get now, which is anything your heart desires. But this is more like, this is just the stuff you're going to try to keep in your rucksack throughout the zombie apocalypse.
Okay. So we can leave like...
Because hell, my bug out bag is going to have like those filter water straws that you can just stick into a pond.
Straws.
But that's only going to last me so long, and then I got to find some coffee filters and make some charcoal.
That's what we ought to do. That's what ought to be the next big invention: reusable life straws. Like, it has a method that, well, no, legit, it has a method where you can like cleanse it and reuse it after a while.
Put it in the sun.
Give it a little, put it in the sun, or like wipe it down with some purified water. Just clean it somehow. That way you can continue to use it.
Yeah. So the sock one, as long as you're near some kind of water supply, ideally every night you would wash your socks, hang them to dry, put them on fresh in the morning. But yeah, in boiling, you're not always going to have the availability to make a fire or the safety to make a fire. Because fire draws attention of both zombies and people. So,
I guess that's fair.
Dude, I'd be a crackhead making a small fire inside of a tub, man.
There's a lot of ways you can make fires that don't produce smoke. I watched a video just the other day how you can. They teach you. The video taught you like how to dig. It's almost like digging a hole. You dig 2 holes, right, as big as you need them to be, and then you leave like maybe a foot in between these 2 holes. And once you have the 2 holes dug, you dig a hole like between, just a smaller hole like underground. So like from the surface, it's level, but there's a hole that's connecting these 2 larger holes that you built. You put a fire in one, and the smoke like will stay like localized to those holes.
Sub-pit fire,
So it won't even produce smoke, and you can cook on it. You can
See, that's knowledge to have in the apocalypse right there.
Yeah.
Where you take your little collapsible shovel, right? Fucking dig 2 holes like that.
Yeah, and so you can set up a fire anywhere and not attract any attention. Yeah. It's funny because I relate a lot of this, and I've been learning a lot. I've gotten into this thing called stealth camping. I don't know if anybody's ever heard about this, but
no.
It's a trend that people have been doing a lot lately, and I have a couple of people that I watch on YouTube that kind of vlog these experiences. Essentially, what they do is they go into like urban areas and they try to camp, in places that you're not really supposed to, like, behind like a highway sign on the freeway,
Yeah.
or like in like the bushes of like a roundabout in like a major city, just stealth camping, right? And so while they're doing these, I'm picking up on like little techniques to like, cook food and set up a shelter and stuff in ways to not be seen.
The fucking roundabout one's got me cracking up.
Dude,
it's like, it sounds...
I'll send you the video. It's fucking fantastic. I'll post it right here. Actually, I'll post it in chat. Give me one second.
Well, while you're posting that, we'll move on to the next one that comes into the campfire thing, which is another one I never really thought about, and you never see it happening, not very much in the zombie apocalypse shows like Walking Dead, but it's collecting tin cans. So, like, as you eat your canned good product,
Ben,
keep
Ben
the
knows
can
what
with
I'm
you.
talking about. Yeah, okay. But there's the video. Ben said he's seen it. Yeah, cool. So Ben knows what I'm talking about then. But like watching this guy in particular, you learn all these kinds of really interesting things about how to camp and sustain yourself without being noticed.
Yeah, which is
super
double
helpful.
good knowledge in the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
But yeah, the tin can one though was another one I never really thought about. The only time you really see people using tin cans in the like Walking Dead and whatnot is as like alarms on string, perimeter alarms.
That's my cooking pot right there. I'm making dinner with it.
Yeah, well, I never thought about like keeping them to keep reusing, and it's like, man, why has that never really crossed my mind? Like, because like you said, it's a reusable cooking pot. I mean, maybe not forever, but
and they're light.
Yeah, and they're light and easy,
and once you're done cooking with it, you can make a tool out of it. You can make a blade out of it. You can make arrowheads. You can make a fishing hook. Like,
yeah, it's like, man, that you never see anybody.
You could make a splint with it if you need to. Like,
yeah, but you never see anybody using them in any of these zombie shows. Wax is another interesting one, like. Because it can be used over and over to make candles or protect your skin and whatnot. Like, kind of like super gluing a bandage, you could pour wax on it to seal a wound up and then wrap it in your toilet paper that you don't want to carry around. No,
I don't. If I'm going into like through a town and I'm grabbing supplies for the journey to the next town, I'm not picking up wax.
I can see myself grabbing some candles. Like little candlesticks. I'm not saying like a Yankee candle.
Pick up a pack of those little round.
Like tea candles.
Yeah, tea candles, or even just like the 1 inch round. Looks like a marker, like a big stick.
I still don't think I am. I don't know.
I mean, because also you use it as a light source at night. You're not gonna always have batteries or things like that. But if you have a candle.
I mean, again, I don't necessarily know if I want a light source if I'm working in the middle of the fucking woods.
We're not talking about the woods. I'm talking about even you're camping down in a house in a town. You got you a couple of those little tea candles I was talking about. So you like one of those in a pitch dark room, and you're good.
I mean, I'm just gonna find one of those wind up flashlights then.
Yeah, but again, it's not always gonna work.
Yeah.
I mean, again, a handful of tea candles thrown into your bag in a Ziploc bag, it's not really adding to your weight. It's not taking up a lot of space, and you have an emergency source.
I vote that we get even more scientific about it and we start actually putting down weights, and we realize just how quickly our backpack starts to fucking fill up with all this dumb shit. I'm not taking candles.
I don't know, man. I think it'd be fine. At least the things we've listed so far. I mean,
candles can get wet, and you can still light them.
Yeah, that too.
That's fine. You can get a lighter wet, and it can still light them.
Yeah, but you're talking about your wind-up flashlight that you dropped and it broke.
If I'm picking up lighters and fucking butane fluid, I'm not picking up candles. I'm sorry.
So you're gonna sit there and hold the lighter everywhere you go?
No, I've got dental floss or fucking fishing line. I'm gonna tie it.
Leave.
Or I'm just gonna make a fucking torch and I'm gonna light the torch.
But again, you're talking about stealth. I'd rather light a tea candle.
Okay. Well, again, I said I'm not getting a light source if I'm in the woods. If I'm in somebody's fucking house, I'm not worried about a torch setting off distraction. You're not gonna see a fucking torch if I'm in the bathroom.
I mean, if you have windows. Yeah, if you're in the bathroom and there's no window, sure. But
I mean, in the zombie
Better get some
apocalypse, why am I
ventilation.
if I'm
You're gonna die.
if
carbon
I'm in the
monoxide
apocalypse, if I'm in the apocalypse, I'm not camping in a room with fucking windows anyway.
I'm just saying. Couple little tea candles, man. It's gonna save your life one day.
Nah, I'm not taking them.
All right. Well, speaking of ones that you probably don't need to take, is chapstick.
No, definitely not taking that.
Boil down lard. That's gonna be your chapstick.
Because it says it can be an
I'd rather
important
grab
part
the
of your.
fucking candle.
Says it can be an important part of your medical kit, which I really don't understand. And it can also be used to turn into a candle. I'm like, well, I'd rather just have a candle.
Right.
But
No, it's a product that you get from killing animals, and you take any of the fat and you render down
Yep.
the fat into
Exactly.
lard, and you have your lard. You can put it on your lips. You can put it
And
on wounds.
you know what else you could do with that lard? You can make a fucking candle out of it.
And you can make a candle out of it.
I'm not taking candles. I'm not taking fucking chapstick either.
So, one of the last ones here is egg crates, like little egg cartons, the like cardboard ones, because you can turn it into a little small garden on the go. You could put different seeds in each little pod,
Yeah.
and have little like.
Okay.
I was like, that is pretty interesting to like.
Yeah.
You carry that around with you, and like you get to where you're staying for like the day, and you put that out on the windowsill and let it keep growing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree. That's not something that I would have ever thought of, but now that you mention it, absolutely.
Yeah, little mobile
Because that could be.
garden.
I mean, you could use that. You could use that as a pretty strong fucking filter too.
Yeah.
You know. You could use it as kindling. You can use it as a medical thing because that could. I mean, those absorb quite a bit of fucking liquid. You know, so you could, you know, if you've got a deep wound, you could kind of jam it in the wound to help everything fucking, you know, pull in and clot up. Like, there's a lot you could do with it.
And they're super light.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you could just fold them up and throw them in your fucking bag and be done.
Well, not if you got a garden inside of it.
Well, yeah, but...
Now, here is some more... So those are just things that, you know, you'd ideally want to be keeping a lookout for and whatnot. Now, we only have like a few more minutes, so I'm going to try and plow through some of these, just kind of get some yes or no answers, or, you know, things you never really thought about. These are skills that would be good to have.
Okay.
And some of these are interesting because, like, I would have never thought about it until reading this list, and also makes me question my paranoia about whether something like this could ever happen and whether I should try and gain these skills before it's too late. So, one is eating which wild plants to eat without dying, which kind of comes back to like Garrett saying, "Can I eat this?" Garrett's learning now.
Yeah, he's ready.
That's a good one because I have a general idea. But
yeah, I mean, everybody
know.
always knows like those little general rules, like just rules of thumb, you know. But that's not always; those are never 100% accurate.
Yeah, I mean, some of it's like don't eat anything with crazy colors, you know.
Yeah.
Hunting and fishing, that one's kind of obvious. Like, yeah, obviously, hunting
Yeah.
and fishing is a good skill to have in any version of the apocalypse.
I mean, just for life in general, honestly.
I will
Paleo.
be eating dandelions nonstop.
You get wild
They
corn
grow
dogs
everywhere.
Just this picture running into Adam in the zombie apocalypse. You just got a handful of dandelions. Like, what's up, bro? Oh, you want some?
You guys want some?
I got plenty.
reminds me of old brother where I was out. Gopher.
Oh man, I mean it is a good point, but it's still funny because I just picture Adam just like, hey, I found this can of beans. He's like, nah, I'm good. I got a sack of dandelions in my bag.
Hey, you hungry?
It's funny
Yeah,
because
man,
it's
you got
true.
food? Yeah, right here. He reaches in his pocket, pulls out a tuft of dandelion. The fuck is that, man? Dinner, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Oh yeah, honeysuckles, man.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Birch, the birch trees, the birch water. It's a purified water. You just literally tap into the tree.
Yeah.
You got spruce for your um, sugary substance.
sap.
Sap. There you go. I've been drinking. I'm sorry.
So next is Paleolithic handyman skills. So this
You're
is
gonna have to explain that one.
yeah. So this is basically like 7 Days to Die in Ark. You know how to make tools out of sticks and rocks.
Oh yeah, so like
How to
yeah, okay.
how to make an old axe. You know, last longer by sharpening it with rocks. You
Yeah,
know,
I can do that stuff.
thinking about skins and logs and caves and shit. You know, like how to live like a caveman.
Yeah, I would be fairly decent at those skills, even like now. You
Yeah,
know, if
some
I
of the
completely unpracticed, but if I were to spend a couple of months practicing, I feel like I'd be pretty good at it.
yeah, some of those I feel like it'd take a while to learn how to do, like tannery. But
I mean, I don't know. For me, I feel like if I were put on,
Tannery is definitely hard to learn because it requires lots of salt plus
well, yeah,
skinning and meating.
right. I mean, I completely understand that, but I feel like if left to my own devices, like right now, if it happened and I had to do these skills, I feel like with maybe a couple of failures, within the by the end of the day, I'd have working versions of whatever I needed to make.
I don't know, man. Well, I'm talking about like tannery, like making leather clothing. You know, like taking an entire deer hide and tanning
Yeah,
it into a
I mean,
useful product.
yeah, I mean, I feel like, I mean, obviously that's not going to be an instant process, but I feel like if I absolutely had to, I probably could, if I really, sat down and put some effort into it.
Well, yeah, you were saying, a couple failures, as in like, give me a couple weeks, and I'll make some leather armor from scratch. I'm like, I don't know. I think it'd take you a little bit longer.
No, I don't think so. I think maybe after my first failure, I'd have learned enough to make it work the next time.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing is learning how to flesh the hide.
Well, yeah, but it's not only that. I mean, it's like because it's tough to say because we're in a society and we're in an environment where we are exposed to this kind of stuff in as many ways as we could ever dream of. Like it would not take a lot to learn how to do it without specialized, chemicals and equipment and stuff. Like there's a plethora of knowledge out there. So
Well, yeah, I mean,
being a curious person like I am, I look into that stuff, right? I'm constantly Googling stuff. If I have a question I don't know the answer to, I'm gonna Google it and I'm gonna learn about it. Even if it's not deep, but at least at surface level, I'm gonna have a basic understanding of how to do that process. So I think, like when it comes to like tannery, again, like I have a basic understanding of how that works. So if I try it the first time and it doesn't come out right, I will have learned enough from that first experience to know what I did wrong because I have the basic understanding. Does that make sense?
I don't.
My
Not with
dad's a
skinning.
taxidermist, so I cheated.
I feel like
What?
if he said his dad's a taxidermist, so he feels like he cheated.
Oh,
I feel like I don't have enough understanding of tannery, like, at all. So, like, I feel like I would fail terribly many times until I found a library that had a book I could read on how to tan things.
right. Well, I mean, because that's the difference, right? Because I have researched that and I have looked into that. I have, like I said, I have a basic understanding of that process. So I would probably have an easier time at it than you would if you're not even researched.
The closest research I've done is playing Conan Exiles.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I mean, we would have very different experiences with that. I would probably have a quicker success than you.
Yeah.
Well, I also think it also comes down to the fact is, you're going to have your city type people, which are going to be like pure scavengers. Then you're going to have your outside city folk, that are going to be more prone to A, yes, they can scavenge, but B, they also naturally, just by the way they have been brought up, they will have the capability of surviving naturally on their own.
Yeah, exactly. It's just whatever's kind of skill set you have for yourself and what kind of experience you have is what's going to determine the way your life looks for, this experience.
So back to skill sets though. We're gonna slam through just naming these off just to give people things to think about tonight.
Right. Yes or no answers only.
So blacksmithing, definitely
Yes.
one that is gonna take some learning curves and failures for multiple reasons. It's just the best, tools and what do you call it? What do you call the actual forge? Making the best homemade forge and making tools to do the blacksmithing. Like, there's so many different levels to blacksmithing, but it would be an amazing skill to know in the zombie apocalypse.
I mean, again, I've researched that. I have a basic understanding of that process.
Yeah, but that's not what we're talking about, though. We're just talking about
whether it's useful to have or not. Yes.
Well, no, yes. I'm just talking about the difficulty. The difficulty for the average person to become a blacksmith, like a good blacksmith.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, I mean, we also have to keep in mind, you don't need to be a good blacksmith. You need to be a passable blacksmith.
Well, yeah. But anyway, regardless, I'm just saying, like, for long term, like, if you said, I want to be the village blacksmith, like,
well, I mean,
that's a long...
That goes away from the nomad thing, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, again, we're talking about long term here. Irrigation, another good one to learn. Not as difficult as blacksmithing to learn how to move water.
Yeah.
Alternative fuel sources, again, not as bad, but using animal fats, tree sap, composite materials and whatnot. That's more of a sciencey chemist kind of thing.
I mean, I guess I feel to me at least that kind of just falls into like basic survival skills. Like, what can I use animal fat for? That's like basic survival knowledge.
Yeah, but
at
again,
least in my opinion.
But this one's like, how can I power an engine off of alternative fuels? Like making like a steam engine or something.
Moonshine, yeah.
Another was interesting was beekeeping. That'd be an interesting zombie apocalypse thing to do.
Well, so I want to hear your reasoning behind, because I want to delve into this one for a minute. But I want to hear your reasoning behind why it would be interesting.
Well, because honey has a lot of good uses.
Okay. So you're saying for just honey. I'm taking this to another level for you here.
Well, it's also good for your gardening and things like that.
Yes, exactly.
But I'm just saying, at its base value, honey has a lot of uses.
There are some plants that will not fruit unless you have a male and a female and a pollinator of some sort. So it's like, you need bees.
Yeah.
For a successful garden.
And the best thing about all of this is during an apocalypse like this, the amount of human interaction with nature is drastically reduced. Just like when we had the COVID lockdowns, you had dolphins and all sorts of just wildlife come back to, cities and stuff like that because the human interaction was eliminated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of was like, well, I feel like the bee population would be back to flourishing because there'd be less human impact.
I would say, believe me, if you wiped out 50% of the human population right now, the Earth would be better off, and that's a fact.
Well, yeah. So that's what I was like, yeah, I mean, granted, the bees would be good for the community garden, but I was looking at more just the medicinal and cooking uses of honey.
Yeah.
Another one
it's a natural antiseptic, I believe.
Yeah, it's just another one of those.
Antibiotic, thank you.
Masonry, another one, like making bricks and whatnot.
Yeah, making pots and bowls and yeah, sure. Okay.
It's another good one to learn. One I really didn't think of was cobbling, making your own shoes, because eventually you're gonna stop finding shoes.
Yeah, but I mean, at that point, I don't know if I'm concerned about having a fucking tennis shoe. I'm fine with flip flops or making some shoes out of tires or something like it.
I mean, I feel like it'd be good to learn how to like make boots.
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely. Here's what I would say about it. It would be a convenient skill to have, not necessary.
I mean, not as necessary as the other ones. I still think it would be an amazing community skill to be the village cobbler.
Well, yeah, but not for me.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying I want to be the cobbler, but
yeah, I mean, it could be useful. It could be profitable.
If we're listing off jobs at the community meeting, and I'm like, look, this wasn't as a priority, but if anybody's looking to be the cobbler, we'll back you up, find supplies, and somebody's like, fuck yeah, I'll be the cobbler. I'm like, yes, comfortable boots coming up soon. Fuck these goddamn tire sandals Jason made me.
I mean, but then again, right? But again, right? If there are no cobblers in the area, right?
Yeah,
does your yeah, I was gonna say, like, your whole like environment doesn't just fucking crumble. It's not essential.
Yeah. Piloting is another good one to think about that you don't see in the zombie apocalypse shows very often. Like, people are always taking the cars, but there ain't nobody stealing all the little fucking crop dusters and shit that you can go from one town to the other. So when you're talking about scavenging for hard to get supplies. Yeah, but if you knew how to pilot, is what I'm saying. Like, if you gained piloting skills prior to the zombie apocalypse, that'd be really handy.
Yeah, but you gain attention when you're flying through the air.
Yeah.
You don't have a guaranteed place to land. Which
well, that depends on your plane.
It's just an added risk.
And not only that, just because you know how to pilot it doesn't mean you know how to fix it or work on it.
Well, yeah.
A lot of pilots don't do the maintenance on their own fucking aircrafts.
Yeah. But still,
don't know dick about it. Like,
it would still be a cool skill to have.
Not essential, not useful.
I'm not
but
saying
yes, a cool skill to have. Yes,
I'm not saying I'm going to learn how to fly in the apocalypse.
Well,
I'm saying it would be cool to
about useful skills to have in the apocalypse. Being a pilot is not a useful skill.
If you've scavenged everything in like 100-mile radius,
any skill could be useful. We're talking about what's actually and realistically useful.
This could be extremely useful in the scenario. Say when you get to that point.
I don't want to hear could be. I want to say, is it or is it not useful? There's no.
Yes, it is.
Could be used. No, it's not.
Yes, it is, because if you ran out of supplies, it's useful.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You can't be an if. It's too situational. If there has to be a specific situation for it to be useful, it is not essential.
It would be an amazing getaway vehicle.
You could say the same thing with masonry.
Dead.
I agreed with masonry.
I'm saying
you could say the same standpoint with masonry. Yes,
and you could say the same thing. Well, if the house falls down, it'd be nice to know how to make bricks and mortar and put it back together. You could say the same thing with any tools. If my tool breaks, it'd be good to know blacksmithing. There's always an if.
No. It's not if your tool breaks, it's when your tool breaks.
When we run out of supplies, piloting is going to be useful.
Yeah, if you have a plane and fuel for it and know how to fix it if it's broken. No, that's too situational. It is not useful. It is not essential. Don't care.
There's a difference between useful and essential. It can still be just as useful as any of the other ones. They're all situational.
If the fucking stars align and hell freezes over, yes.
Okay. That's awfully extreme. If I ran out of supplies in my town and there's a crop duster in the barn next door and I know how to fly it, I'm not going to be like, well, I'm just not going to use that.
You and I are going to be waving out the window, waving at Dragon while he's on the floor, on the ground, and we're flying away.
Yep. And I'm going to be happy at every town that you pass and pull all the fucking zombies out of as they try and fucking track your ass down.
That's fine. Well, you sit there and starve to death. I fly to the next major city.
There won't be any city along the way that you flew that's going to have any fucking zombies in it. I'll have plenty to eat.
Okay. But anyway, I think piloting would be cool to know prior to the apocalypse. I would probably never have the balls to try and learn it during the apocalypse. That just sounds like suicide. But then as some of the other minor ones, we got boating. But I feel like it wouldn't really be hard to learn how to use a boat.
Yeah, I
Well,
feel like this should be common knowledge.
you're not boating. It's a skill to learn how to read the river. So like when we're
Well,
running the
yeah.
rivers in Alaska, you need to be able to visually see shallow areas, deep areas, and know riptides and stuff like that. That way you can navigate correctly. You're just not hauling ass in a straight line. You have to see a sand barge and be like, all right, well, I can see a riptide coming off the right hand side. That's the deeper side. The left hand side is obviously shallow.
Well, yeah. I mean, with a certain degree of common sense. I was just thinking of, like, say, cruising the coastline. I don't need a major amount of boating skills, just a general knowledge of how water flows. It's kind of like saying, driving a four-wheeler off into a field. You got to watch for dips and rises on the ground, just like I have to watch the water.
Sure.
But I feel like I'm not in a rush to go be a better boat driver as I would be to, like, learn piloting. Like, if I had two choices, learn to be a better boater or learn to be a pilot, I would go learn to be a pilot. Because I can figure out a boat. I'm not figuring out how to fly a plane. I don't care how many manuals I read.
Yeah, well, because one is less forgiving than the other. When you're trying to learn how to pilot a boat, it's less forgiving. Whereas you try and pilot a airplane, it's very, very
unforgiving. Yeah. It's one mistake, I'm dead. One mistake in the boat, I'm swimming to shore. Well, depending on the situation. But I'm not exactly going to be crossing the White Rapids in a boat. So,
there's a double black diamond. Let's take it.
Anyway, I'm going to hydrate since Mudslide requested it. And then we're going to open up for any last minute statements and any announcements and whatnot.
Oh, that was the end of your list?
Well, it's the end of the stream, but it's mostly the end of the list. Yeah. It's the important things anyway.
We should come back to this one. We'll do a part 2 next week.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty more of just general survival skills.
Yeah. I want to keep talking about this. This is a really, really fun one for me.
Yeah, because we just got
there was actually a difference in opinion on this.
Well, yeah. But anyway, yeah. So that's going to be the end of our stream. Unless anybody has anything else to add. To thank Mudslide for joining us as our first audio guest. Maybe one day we'll get a video and we can add another camera to the screen here.
Yep.
Until then, I don't think we really have any announcements because we finished DreamHack the other weekend and nothing else is really going on in the foreseeable future.
I have an announcement. It's nothing major, but if you are playing Diablo 4, I have created a RUM-Gaming clan within Diablo 4, so if you want to be a part of that, the membership currently has one member, myself. So looking for more people if you're playing Diablo 4.
Got to start somewhere, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So that's it. And like I said, there's no other real RUM-Gaming news as far as any upcoming events. QuakeCon is a LAN party only. It's not an actual convention this year. We went to DreamHack. And I can't think of any other events that we've looked at in the future.
Myself and Crazy Quinn may be going to Houston Games Expo or Houston Arcade Expo, something like that. HGX, Houston Games Expo. So we'll be doing that most likely.
What was that, Adam?
Are you guys gonna be doing BlizzCon?
No. No, God no. As much as I'd love to.
Yeah. No, I'm not flying to California and buying a $200 BlizzCon ticket.
I'll buy the $60, digital one and get all the same rewards that.
It's like a once in a lifetime thing.
You're right. If I was rich, or single or something, maybe. Maybe when Grace moves out, me and the wife can take a trip together or something. But
Yeah.
until
There you
then,
go. Bye, Grace.
yeah,
Yeah.
we just need to get Grace to get stationed out there when she joins the Air Force.
There you go. Now you're using your noggin.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So we're already 12 minutes past, so we're gonna go ahead and call it a night or a week for this episode 12, and we'll be back tomorrow for my gaming stream. We're back on Monday for wrestling, and then next week for the next week's talk show, episode 13.
Yep.
And probably continue where we left off here with probably more general survival, like if you get lost in the woods or plane crash kind of survival instead of the zombie focus.
Yep.
But until then, it was a good chat with everybody. Lots of good feedback. And we'll see y'all next week. Bye.